Hey there guys, how's it going for today? This video, if you haven't already seen the thumbnail image or the icon image coming up, discussing how many combos you should run in your EDH deck. Alright, so today I'm discussing how many combos you should run in your EDH deck. Now, honestly, this is 100, 1 million, 10 trillion, whatever, all up to you essentially how many combos you want to run. But here's a little thing that I've kept finding with combos in the game. The thing is, look, this is a 99 singleton format. It doesn't work very well to have all of these combos that you can't reliably hit if you find yourself going, okay, like I can't win with this card and this card, they don't actually work together. Like you're given situation to actually use two cards. Now, yes, there are some cards that synergize in a combo sense with other cards and you can still win with them. But, of course, the main combos are always known. Every combo is pretty much known anyway, but still, like the main combos that you will know out of your deck are going to be the easiest combos for you to run and to successfully, or the simplest ones. They're the ones that you're going to be the most familiar with. Like this plus this equals I win. That's it. Like there's no other gears and motors and wheels or whatnot really in it. Like it is the end. This is like the end game. But anyway, like again, I understand even in CDH, they don't actually run that many combos. Yes, they run several or whatever, but they have a lot of tutors and whatnot. They have a lot of redundancy a lot of the time for a lot of the combos and whatnot that they do run and whatnot. And usually they are focused on one or two combos or whatnot for the most part. And then the other combos are there if the other main combos get disrupted somehow or they have to do their combo in a different way, whatnot, all of this sort of stuff and whatnot. So, yeah, there's lots of different things out there. And again, it does depend, I will say, on the group of people that you play with to a degree, to an extent, because even saying that, yes, sure, you might combo off one time here or there very quickly sometimes, if you're always like comboing off, like to me, like comboing is one of the hardest things to actually do, I think, and it is very difficult, especially like storm combos are very difficult or whatnot, combos where you could just whiff, kind of. Those are like the worst combos, which is like very hard to pilot because you've got to take that risk to a degree, and you might not get rewarded for it. You might just look like you're about to win, then fizzle because suddenly you didn't draw enough of the pieces that you need or whatnot, all of this sort of stuff. So, yeah, like combos are incredibly difficult, like especially like more drawn out combos, but like simple 2-card combos, this plus this equals I win, like those are pretty simple again. But again, like unless you're running a lot of tutors to get those 2 cards or whatever, 3 cards, whatever it is, maybe one of them's your commander, whatever, you're just not gonna always see them. So it's very hard to, be like, well, maybe I'll see it, or whatever, like I have this combo in there, but how many times, and you're going to sit there and, pass turns and whatnot with one half of the combo in your hand, just hoping you'll draw the other half, like, or are you just going to play that spell eventually, or one of the spells eventually, and just be like, oh, okay, I'll just do something random with it, whatever, it doesn't really matter because I'm not seeing the other half of the combo, so why am I just sitting here like with this card that's essentially dead in my hand? Like I hear people talk about how these big CMC or these big mana cards always right in your hand. Yes, that is definitely true. You should try to cut some of the bigger things out of your deck that just don't really do a whole lot. But the big things that do a whole lot, I think you can definitely keep or if you really like them or their flavor or whatever, things like that. But again, like things that don't do a lot, you might be like, well, let's take that out. But anyway, a lot of these combo cards, if you don't have the other piece, just right in your hand as well. So, and if you don't have, enough of certain things, or players are in too good of a position or whatever, every single time you take your turn, like let's say you're sitting there and you're playing like the whole Thoughtseize Inquisition of Kozilek style package or whatnot, and this is why I don't like CDH, because it's completely different. They even play those cards, which are completely unplayable, even in Tergren decks, I think. But again, they play all those sorts of cards because, it's very powerful one-to-one removal to a degree, and it can be very useful. But anyway, again, it's one of those things. Like if somebody passes their turn and then you go to say, okay, I'll Inquisition of Kozilek you or whatever, I'll Thoughtseize you, and then they go, oh well, cool, great, I have no cards in hand. You just dealt 2 damage to yourself for 1 mana. Well done. Like that happens sometimes a bit because some decks are very proactive at emptying their hand because they know that if they ever have anything Thoughtseize or whatever removed from their hand, then it's bad because again they'll lose value and whatnot and all that stuff. But anyway, back to the point is saying how many specifically, and again it does depend. It depends on the nuts and bolts of your deck. Like what is your commander specifically? Because if your commander is a very powerhouse commander, and you can win with your commander a lot of the time, or like 1 or 2 other things with your commander, not specifically just combos. Let's say just like my commander is a 7/7, therefore if I hit someone 3 times, they're dead. If I hit everyone 3 times, they're all dead. Like that's it. Like, and if I can find other things to basically give it double strike or whatnot, things like that, then it's even shorter, or if I can double its power, things like this. There's all sorts of other things, artifacts, equipments, things like that will buff it up, the auras, whatnot. So again, there's easy ways to just, this is a 6, 7, 8 turn clock sometimes. That means I'll win the game in like a few turns probably, whatnot, this sort of thing. This is what will happen. Or if I have something that says I deal damage to each opponent, essentially, or, even if it's not commander damage, it's still a lot of damage. I hit you for 21. Okay, cool, you're dead. Okay, I hit the other 2 players for 21. Okay, they're not dead, but, they're at half their starting life. Now I'll just hit one of them for another 21. Now they're dead, and now the other player's dead. So it's like, well, that's the end of the game right there. So again, like if your commander is able to do that sort of thing, then you don't really need too much else. Like again, yeah, sure, if your commander gets shut down and things like this, it's nice to have maybe 1 or 2 other things that can win you the game, or little combos or whatnot, whatever. Or even just like more answers is another thing. Like again, like I think people rely too much on combos sometimes to be like, oh, well, I just won't run removal. Like I don't need removal when I've got, I win the game cards, or I've got player removal or whatnot. Yes, I get that is, better because in a sense you win. Therefore, the game's over in a sense. So you didn't really need removal. But again, I think removal does win games. So again, it's a bit different. But if your commanders are very small, ineffective, like on the battlefield style commander, that really doesn't do anything on the battlefield, it's just a piece to help you draw cards, get value, get mana, get this sort of thing going, whatnot, then of course I think that style of commander wants much more combos or more ways to win within the deck itself. Like you need cards maybe like Crater Hoof Behemoth, Avenger of Zendikar, Tooth and Nail, things like this, or whatever, Walking Ballistas, Triskelion, whatnot, whatever it is, Leveler, Thassa's Oracle, whatnot, whatever it is, or Demonic Consultation, Thassa's Oracle, whatever you're doing, as long as you're saying, okay, cool, this is my way to win, that's what I find. It doesn't matter if you have combos because everything is just saying, here, I win. It's just the efficiency, I guess, at it, and sometimes it's not 100%. Like, I always hear people say Crater Hoof wins games, and it does, definitely, but I've cast Crater Hoof, and I've seen Crater Hoof come down and it not win the game. It even doesn't really do a whole lot sometimes because someone's gained a lot of life and they're just the biggest threat, plus they have a whole lot of creatures and things like this. So there's circumstances in which it has to try to focus on one person and, knock them down quite a bit just so that the other players can, get in there and do something, or whatnot. So again, we're really talking about win conditions. Like, combos are just a win condition, and I'm not a huge fan of combos, but I accept that they're part of the game, and I accept that people play them because I think, like, people just want that cut and clean. Here, the game is over. That's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. No, that's it. Like, game's over. Come on, pack up and shuffle up, play again. Whatever. Like, this game has gone way too long and this is just silly. Everyone's like, that's what another reason why combos work so well is because, like, there are those circumstances where, something doesn't quite win. You think it often wins, but its win percentage in comparison to, like, combos is a lot smaller. If your combo gets disrupted, yeah, sure, you don't win, but again, you can set up another combo or whatnot, whatever. A combo, when it goes off, always wins for the most part, realistically. So that's the thing. Like, the combo always wins. A Crater Hoof Behemoth with no other creatures on the battlefield is just a 10-10, so, or whatnot. I don't know. No, it's just a 6-6 or whatever. So, again, that's not really going to kill anyone, really, unless someone's at 6 life, but it's not going to kill the other 2 players that are at the table, so, that's not quite that good, in those circumstances. There's always, and that is if and buts and candies and nuts and all that sort of stuff. Again, I understand that, but again, there are often circumstances that prevent some of these cards from being the most powerful sometimes. Yes, they are very powerful at the right time, and you often wouldn't play them if it wasn't the right time, but you often do play your combo, can play your combo almost at any time, like, for the most part. So, again, it's just one of those things where combo is one of those things that, a lot of people really like, I think, or, like, I even think, like, some people will say, because my commander does this or whatnot, this combos with my commander or whatnot. Like, this, my deck is a life gain deck. Therefore, cards that say if I have X amount of life or whatever above my starting life, whatever it is, basically combo with my commander, and that means I'll just win when I get back to my turn or whatnot, because basically there's no real way that I can go below that life because I gain so much life. It's, insurmountable for me to basically lose all that life unless someone really combos off. But it's not so much a combo that actually wins you the game. It's just a card that says, hey, I win the game. Like, on my upkeep, hey, look, I win the game because I have so much life, because this enchantment says if you have so much life, you win. Like, that's it. Like, that's not really a combo. There's infinite combos and there's non-infinite combos, but mostly infinite combos win the game. Like, a combo doesn't have... An infinite combo isn't a real thing anyway, in a sense, but it does go on forever and ever in a sense. A combo that just says, right, deal 40 damage to each opponent or whatever, or make 40, you know, you know, hasty flying bugs or whatever that all have double strike or whatnot or whatever. Things like this do win games. So again, like where does it work? Like the difference between like a deck that is storming off to combo and has a value engine going versus a deck that basically is, like, okay, I'm going to, Demonic Consultation, Thassa's Oracle. Like, they'll both win, but the deck that's basically storming off is going to take a lot of time. And as I sort of said, with some of those storm decks and whatnot, some of these decks where, like, whatever her name is, the legendary commander, the Izzet one, I can't think of her name right now, from Dominaria, she, draws your cards whenever you play historic spells and whatnot. So you play all these cheap, mana rocks and whatnot, and you just churn through your whole deck and, draw your whole deck and then win from there somehow with like some storm count or with some Aetherflux Reservoir or whatever, things like that, whatnot. So there's all sorts of ways to win with that deck, but those decks can whiff very easily because if you don't hit enough artifacts to draw enough cards, whatnot, or enough historic, whatever, spells to draw enough cards to get, keep the gas flowing, essentially, you just like run out of gas and then go, oh, okay, well, I've got nothing left to play, to do, and to get anywhere. So, well, that's about it, So, but again, like, even though that's not specifically like won the game per se, the amount of value that person has got now has put them in an incredible position on the board. And not only on the board, but in terms of their deck, because in terms of their deck, they've gotten most of their good cards onto the battlefield already, or most of them, not all of them, so say. But again, they've got at least most of them on the battlefield. So next turn, again, they're probably going to do a lot of the same stuff. And if you don't stop them now, it's like, well, what else can I do? Like, I've got to try to stop them because, if I don't, they'll just probably win. There's nothing else I can do. So it's one of those things. So it is very dependent on many, many things. But again, I do tend to not really run that many. Like, one or two of my decks, I think, has a combo sort of in it. But it's a combo that is very synergistic to what my deck is sort of doing for the most part. Those are the combos that I often think that people should look at running, because I think that it works with what you're actually doing. If you're saying, okay, well, what am I doing? My goal in this deck is to make a lot of tokens or whatever. So why don't I make infinite tokens so that I can kill everybody? That's one way to win. So if I have enough, 40 bazillion, cajillion, whatever tokens, it's not going to be hard for me to kill everybody. So, like sitting there and going, oh, okay, well, why don't I put this combo in so that I can actually just make infinite, tokens? Maybe I won't be able to do that at instant speed, but if you can, it's really good. But again, if you can't, then it's just one of those things where it's like, well, sorcery speed only apparently, or whatever, so I guess I'll make all the tokens now and then hope that, I don't get board wiped for 3 whole turns and then get back to my turn and then untap and basically kill everyone. Or if I can find a way to actually give my stuff mass haste, now that can be difficult in certain colors and things like that. But again, that will win me the game. So again, ask yourself, what are you doing in this deck? If you say, okay, my commander cares about casting creatures, playing lands, or whatnot, whatever it is, my commander cares about playing artifacts or playing historic or playing whatever it is. My commander cares about exiling stuff, and playing it from exile and whatnot. Things like this. So whatever your commander is doing, try to focus your combo in that area. Like if your commander's making lots of treasure or lots of tokens or whatnot, focus your combos into saying, okay, well, that's what my main engine will be around is, okay, whatever works with me making those tokens, making those or sacrificing those tokens, or whatever I'm doing with those tokens, or whatever it is, then that's part of my game plan, that's part of my combo, because that will be the best for me at this stage. Like if you're in CDH, then it's completely different. Again, it's just like, running all the interaction, running the best, one or two card combos, and all the tutors basically that you can fit in your deck. So it's one of those things. It's completely different. But again, like I don't really know the metagame. I don't really know enough about CDH and whatnot, how it actually goes and whatnot. But again, the metagame over there, I'm just not going to get into it. And I only know bits and pieces and whatnot here and there, and I never will know more than what I sort of know, because again, it's just not something that interests me. If you guys are interested in it, then I do suggest you guys go find a CEH channel and look at what they do and look how they do it. You can even tell me if you like what they sort of do, because like it's not that I per se want to know, but again, it does help if I do know to a degree, because like some people want that information to a degree, or they want it presented in a different way. They don't want to know it all. They just want to have a brief summary of like what's it all about. Like I know that cards like Through the Breach and Underworld Breach are big cards in the format. And again, I know that, very interactive decks are, the most powerful. So obviously black and blue are the main two colors really of, CDH. I don't know how good green actually is in CDH. I think green might be pretty good in CDH, but again, because you're much more focused on, zero cost mana rocks and really getting out so fast and whatnot with all of that. Yeah, of course, again, all those very cheap, efficient mana rocks and whatnot, in terms of that, are very heavily played again. But again, since green doesn't really, have that much ramp outside of like land style stuff, it's much more different style of a deck. And again in CDH you don't run many lands or a lower land count, whatnot, and you also run less basics, and most of green's ramp is for basics. So again, I think maybe green would be a little bit watered down. Again, you'd probably still have the same like level of ramp or mana in CDH, but again, it will be a bit different because you're like reliant on artifacts, so you can't really as effectively just go, well, I'll just run a bunch of board wipes or a bunch of artifact hate and whatnot because I can and I'm in green and it won't really affect me, because now you're like, oh, well, it does affect me, and things like that. So you really want asymmetrical effects and things like this that really help you out and slow your opponents down. You want to, like taxing and whatnot is a very big thing because it really slows down your opponents. Like Grand Arbiter is one of those, cards that can be really powerful because it makes your stuff cheaper and your stuff's already trying to be as low CMC as possible. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's just a completely different format, and I just like don't really like tend to talk about it because I think it's a completely different beast, and you really need to understand it and know about it. Like, I can't really comment too much about it because, again, I'm not really that familiar with it. Like, I know, like, some of the basic concepts and whatnot, and some of the cards that exist, that some people have said, oh, this is really good in there. And I'm like, well, okay, yeah, that's great, cool, whatever, because I'm not playing that. And they're like, oh, yeah, okay, that's cool then, whatever. And some people are like, why not, or whatever. And I'm like, well, I just don't get it, and whatnot. I'm a Timmy player, or whatnot, like, really, like, that's me. I'm just, like, here to play, dude, and, like, see what happens, like, to a degree. And that's a different mindset, like, I just want to play, and whatnot, see what happens. And other people are very much like, no, I must tutor for the same card that I've tutored for 50,000 times before to win this game, and whatnot, whatever. Oh, okay, cool, great, have fun. Things like that. It's just completely different to me. Like, again, but anyway, I know a lot of people are much like that as well. But again, like, people do want to win the game. That's not. There's nothing wrong with wanting to win the game. I want to win the game too, but I'm just casually along for the ride. I'm just chilling and having fun. Sometimes there's little things that you've got to go, am I afraid of this? Am I afraid of that? What can I do? How can I do this? Do I have enough mana to do this? Blah, 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 this sort of thing. And whatnot. Or, damn it, I've missed my land drop. Now everything's ruined, or whatever. Or I've missed my second, or I've missed my third color, or I've missed my fourth color, or I've missed my fifth color, whatever, things like that. So it's just like, well, I'm not really doing anything because I don't have my other color or whatnot, or one of my colors, so I just can't really do anything because, my deck's really reliant on having all the colors that I need and whatnot. So again, it's just one of those things where it's very dependent on many things. Like, I think, like, what was it? Oh, Golos, actually. I was thinking about Golos. This is right. When Golos was still legal, I think, like, what was the card? The blue, the Esper Planeswalker, whatever, a creepy little girl, whatever her name is. I can't remember her right now off the top of my head. She had this spell, Aminatu's Orrery, actually, there it is. I just remembered what it was. That basically it exiles the top cards of your library and you cast them for free. That was a gross card in Golos. It was a very good win condition. It wasn't a combo card, but it was one of those cards that's just like, oh, okay, cool. I cast this card and I cast 3 more cards for free. Wow, that's really good. Even if you again whiff on, like, maybe 1 or 2 of them being lands, it's still really powerful. It's just like, oh, okay, I get to re-roll, and like, one of those lands that I just, like, got off of Golos is a re-roll. Wow, that's really good. I can re-roll to get 3 more cards. Like, see how I go then. Like, so it's one of those things. Like, there's really powerful cards again that are out there that will get you far ahead, win you games, and do you stuff. They're not legit combos, but again, they will win you the game. So combo versus, like, just like actual win conditions. And again, yes, combos are win conditions, but again, like, how many should you run? And again, I do think you should only run a handful of them for the most part, because you don't want too many win conditions. Like, again, I was saying earlier, because, like, what if you, like, especially like the big mana, like, ones, because it's like, oh, okay, cool, I draw my first hand, okay, cool, it's all 8, 9, 10 drops or whatnot, and maybe a couple of lands. I really can't play with this because it's just like, here's all my finishers with no way to cast them. Like, that's not a realistically good hand. So again, like, not having as many of them is, like, you maybe need a couple of them, 2 or 3 in regular games of EDH. That's what I think, roughly, at least. Like, I think in my Tauren's deck, actually, that deck has, like, Craterhoof, Endrace Forerunners, Decimator of the Provinces, and whatever his name is from Commander Legends, the green one, Kamal. Um, basically they're all the same sort of card. They give your team a really big buff for the most part and trample, and then you punch in with all your creatures. So those are like that's the one deck that has the most like win conditions, and that's up to 4. I kind of just put it together that way because it was, it just sort of fell together that way more so. It's not like there's too many, but that is the deck that I think has got the most win conditions in one of my decks. And, it is awkward when you do have those moments where it's like, oh, okay, cool, here's 3 of my win conditions in my hand, and I don't have enough stuff on the board, or I don't have enough card draw to get to enough stuff to actually like put together enough things for these to be win conditions for me. They're just 7/7s for 7 or whatnot, or whatever it is, things like this with haste that might give my other team a bit of a buff and some trample, but it's not going to win me the game. So again, like combo is completely different, but again, I still would think that, like if you have, again, one half of your combo and not the other half of your combo, and you're not running a lot of tutors. Now, I guess, sure, you could run a lot of tutors, but then once you're starting to run a lot of tutors, you're not really playing EDH, you're playing CDH, or you're trying to play CDH, so like you really should start looking at saying, well, do I actually want to play the game and have fun with people and make those contacts? Yes, sure. Again, the difference is saying what experience am I looking for, and sometimes you're looking for different things each time. Sometimes you say, well, this time I actually am looking for a CDH game or a CDH style game. I just want to play a game and see if I can win. That's what I want to do. That's it. Then that's fine. If that's what you are looking for, and that's what the other people that you're playing are looking for, then there's no issues. That's it. Like, get in your game and start trying to beat each other with your combos. That's what you're there for. Like, again, so it's just one of those things where you've got to all be on the same page. That's it. Like, there's no other, like, problems with it. Like, as long as you're playing with people that are on the same page and say, hey, yeah, that's cool. Like, yeah. So that's pretty much it. Like, just knowing, okay, yep, sure. Yeah, I don't have too many. I don't run into the problem of going, well, I have this half of this combo and this half of another combo, but they don't really work well together. So I don't really know what to do with these 2 cards. So, it's just, or your deck's like all combos, and it's just like, well, none of them really work together with any of the other combos. So it's just like, well, I've got a whole bunch of random cards that will combo with something that's in the deck, but am I ever going to see the other half of any one of these, whatever combos that I've got? So it's like, well, yeah, at some point you need to know when too many things are, you're trying too many things and trying to have too many cooks in the kitchen and whatnot and that sort of thing. You've got all these great ideas. Oh, this will work well with this, or this will work well with that, and like that's cool. But if they don't come out together, it's like, well, So that's where it's like you've got to know. Okay, cool. Yes, I will have this 1 or 2 or 3 whatever combos in my deck, what have you, and when the game is starting to get long, or when I think I've had enough, or it's time for everyone to go home. All right, cool, whatever. Or I want to win now, or whatever. It's been long enough. Everyone's had their time to do what they want or try to win. Everyone's had fun. That's it. All right, cool. I'll just win then. And that's the thing. Like, or I just found it, or I just found the piece that I need, or I found the tutor I needed finally. I finally drew it or whatnot. Whatever. That happens a lot of the time. You're just like, oh, okay, well, I don't really have anything, so I can't really do anything. And that's the thing about like playing combos is you've got to accept that, you know, a lot of the time you'll feel like, well, I'm not really doing anything because I have one half of the combo in my hand or whatever, and I don't have the tutor to get the other thing or whatnot. So I really don't have any other cards that I can play out. All my other stuff is reactionary or whatnot, or just other cards that maybe draw cards or whatnot, or other value engines that might be okay, but they're not that good. They're not going to protect me. So, you know, like, again, you're just like, well, at a certain point, you know, this seems like I'm not really doing much. I'm sitting here, someone attacks me or whatever, and things like this, so I can't really defend myself. And it's just like, well, I'm not having much fun. And then suddenly, oh wow, I win. Because I found top deck the card that tutors for the other half of the combo, and oh, here's my 2 cards, I win. You know, like, it can go from, you know, 0 to, oh look, I win. You know, like, that's the thing. Like, or it can go from, okay, turn 1 land, you know, turn 2 land, okay, turn 3, here's my combo, I win, guys, let's shuffle up and play another one. You know, like, and the other people are like, please play at another table, or please, you know, choose another deck, because we don't want to play against this if this is a deck that you consistently play that kind of game. Or if you're going to play that kind of game where, you know, basically you're always going to win like this, then we're going to play our decks that are, you know, basically always going to win like this. You know, so that's it. Like, you've got to know where you're all at, you know, and whatnot. That's just, when you have those issues and whatnot, when you play games, you need to know, okay, yep, sure, I didn't really read the room, I didn't really read the decks, and you might know, oh, this sounds like a really powerful commander, but it's just like +1/+1 counter tribal or something, you know, like Jakey again. So you never know what somebody's playing. So again, don't always assume, but, you know, again, be wary and, you know, just like gauge things. How big of a threat is this person, whatnot. That all comes back to it. So anyway, guys, I hope this rambling discussion that I always tend to do is helpful to you guys in determining how many combos you should run, or how many win conditions you should run, because again, combos are just win conditions at the end of the day. So yeah, but again, as I say, win conditions are the same thing in being somewhat inconsistent in many ways, but you don't have to often tutor another piece like with like some other win conditions like Craterhoof Behemoth. You do have to have a board of stuff set up, but you don't need any other specific piece like with combos. So it's one of those things that you might not have a board of stuff, but you might eventually get one. So yeah, it's easier to build that board of stuff a lot of the time than sometimes to find the other piece, unless you've got lots of twos. But anyway, as I said, you guys can let me know what you think. Write your thoughts down there in the comments below. Be sure to try to respond to all your comments. I really enjoy talking to you guys and interacting with you guys, talking about all these geeky things that we all love, and these hobbies and whatnot. So yeah, I'll definitely see you down there in the comments below, or I'll see you in the next one. Hey, you've just finished watching one of our videos. A bunch of other videos are popping up on your screen now for you to check out, so why not check them out?